today's presentation is going to be on creating prompts. So it's really transform prompts into templates. So trying to create a reusable AI toolkit, mostly just trying to understand why we would want to do that. It helps, especially if you use AI, whether it is Claude, Perplexity, ChatGPT. Sometimes we tend to go back and we do the same thing over and over, and this actually helps us make sure that we just create a way of having something to just fall back on, and something that's more of a template that you already have. So why the session, and really just trying to understand it. So what problems you may get, which is inconsistent responses, especially AI outputs can vary wildly without any structure, and this is just a way of trying to figure out what structure we can create. So improvised prompts are high risk of hallucinations and errors, compliance confusion, whether they're FERPA and issues with ethics. Additionally, the opportunities that if you standardize your template, you'll ensure that you have consistent output. You can ask it within your template to make sure that you're FERPA compliant. Accessibility compliance is something that you can, especially I think in April of 26, anything that's student facing, that whether it's your website, your Canvas course, everything has to be accessible. That's a federal law that will be coming in April of 26, and I know that e-learning is trying to get us up to speed to make sure that we get that we're ready by April. So, but if you're doing something, also that there's accessibility on that. Efficiency and scalability. Prompts versus templates. The prompt, of course, is the one-off request, write a quiz for me, high variability, low reliability. You can evolve into a template, which is, of course, reusable workflow, defined constraints and filters. You're telling it exactly what to do. So you're consistent, you're safe, and it's scalable. So it's repeatability, it's safety, because of the fact that you're constantly, your AI or your has learned from you is exactly what you're looking for. So, and it also helps with efficiency because now it knows exactly what you're looking for. And I added this for good measure because we do teach at community colleges, and there is a lot of work that we do. So why would we want it as community college faculty? High teaching loads, adjunct heavy workforce, sometimes accessibility gaps. So there are things that it's important for us to understand that when we are trying to, we're in OER, we're trying to get all these things done. So it's easier for us to just start trying to think of templates rather than just using it on a daily basis, but not really having any consistency on it. I've created a couple of them where you can create your bots or your chat GPTs where it'll help me with certain assignments. And so you create a way of helping you on a daily basis rather than just going, okay, now I'm going in for something new. And you're just doing something new for that day, and it's not actually efficient for you. So it's mostly looking at workflows. This is the one AI template that we talked about last semester, which is you give it a structured process. So it's the role, the task, the context, and the output. So the first one is, who is the AI acting as? So you're going to give it a role, which is an instructional designer, a success coach, a data analyst. The task, what specific action is required. Create 3 discussion questions, draft an email, and then the context. Who's the audience? What's the background? Whether it's psychology students or community college level. Additionally, you look at the format, a table, an email draft, a bullet point, something that helps it understand what you want. So we have a couple of things that are important here. The ethics and safety layer, non-negotiable guardrails would be that every AI interaction. So we look at data privacy, verification, bias, and accessibility, and of course, looking at human oversight. AI is a tool and not the final decision maker because you are the expert. So when we look at, say, and I mentioned, and it's web compliance, and I can't remember, but this is what this is the new compliance that we have to go through be ready for April of 26, which is that the accessibility portion of anything that's student-facing or public-facing. So it has to be there. Looking at scenario 1, transforming a history discussion prompt. Write a discussion question for my class, too vague, no context, and unknown output format. But if you look at a template format or version, it would be, you can be an instructional designer or you can be the history instructor, right? 3 discussion questions based on Bloom's taxonomy, analyze and evaluate US history, community college level. The output would be table format with learning objectives and FERPA compliant and cite your resources. The result would be targeted, level appropriate questions and ready for an LMS. Now, I did that just to show you what it did for me. I asked it to be an instructional designer. I told it, I used the OpenStax Chapter 1, and this is what it provided. So US History 1, introductory questions based on Chapter 1. It gave me the discussion, the learning objective, and then where the source was coming from, like what it was, and any learning objectives that were aligned to Bloom's taxonomy. So you would be able to do the same in the sense that you tell it, give it the role, tell it what it needs to do, and then just be very specific on those needs. And it actually will be able to do things like that for you. And what I did was just use Chapter 1 from the US History OpenStax. And it's would be the same thing if you do biology. I didn't do the biology one, but it essentially just, like, this would be much more specific and role, task, context, output, and any filters that you're asking it to do. Accessibility check, and then it would actually, whether you need something. So you're going to get a rigorous assessment with built-in feedback. So it's mostly, you're an assessment specialist, you are a history instructor, you are you're doing something. So you give it the role that it needs. And there are several out there that you can find that it gives you specific templates on how to be able to do that. Like, how do you actually get it to work the way you want it to work? Because remember, it can, as we've been saying for the last few years, it could be considered your assistant, making you and helping you make your job a little easier. And just to give you some insight, I'll put this on a Canvas course shell. And I'll put your names because you attended, so you'll have access to this one from probably by tomorrow, just so that you'll have access to all of this information. Student support outreach, because I know that we can always just look at faculty, but there's other, sometimes you can use it for different ways. So whether you write an email to a student about tutoring, tone might be too harsh, could violate privacy, and just too generic. So student success coach, outreach email for at-risk student, supportive, non-punitive, tone, encourage, help seeking, and subject line email body, and then again, FERPA, no specific grades, empathetic tone, encouraging communication. So you are essentially just asking for it to do something for you, and it's mostly just getting that outreach email to help you maybe get started. On that end. So when you build your toolkit, especially with the categories, anything would be for teaching. It could be lesson plans, rubrics, discussion boards, student support, advising scripts, resource guides, outreach emails, accessibility, especially when it comes to like reading level adjusters, format converters, alt text generators. And if you notice, like one of the things that we do have already in Canvas is that you have the read speaker, so it can switch language for you, so you can put it in the language. It can read the text, but in your own language, whether it could be, I think there was a student who was a Spanish speaker, and she just wanted to hear it in Spanish, the book. So she would switch her book to Spanish, and it would read it to Spanish. So when you put it,
password that one language things.
Yeah, like on Canvas, you can the read speaker changes languages on any language that you may want. And so if the textbook is in PDF or any other, it will read it for you. So that's one. Professional work, meeting summaries, grant writing aid, anything, assessment, quiz generation, feedback assistance, grading rubrics is one way. And any other category that you may think, but those would be something that could help you with that. And I think I didn't, and as you know, I try not to make it too long with anything. Especially why templates work. Cognitive load reduces mental effort for faculty, staff, and provide a structured starting point. And it allows focusing on content rather than the prompt engineering. That's the one thing that we are all constantly trying to figure out. Even students try to not know exactly what to do, right? Because what often happens? They just say, write this for me, or do this, or just copy and paste. But I think for us, we're a little bit more advanced in what we want. So we're trying to get it to do something, but creating that template will probably be more helpful for us. And as we develop what our needs, I think that we can be more efficient in trying to do that. I've been trying a little bit more. I was going to try to put some in the Canvas course, I would put faculty resources, just anything that you would want to print or anything that you would want to have just to help you with that a little bit. Universal design learning is UDL alignment. So of course it ensures the diverse learner, the needs are systematically addressed in every output. And remember, we have been doing a couple of things, which is encouraging you to allow students to have more of a way to be able to submit what they've learned, right? So whether it was written work or if it is, a video or something that's different for you to be able to get, did you learn this? How did you, and how was it type of thing. So, and efficiency, write once and use many times. That's really what the template's all about. How else do you think that the templates would actually work for you and in any way? You're like,
How do you save the template? Like you use ChatGPT?
Yeah, because you can create, and ChatGPT, when you go and you can have, it's even on the free version, but it'll say the GPTs. Once you do that, you can create it and put that to be your, and you're literally giving it the role. Every single time that you're going to do it, you can copy and paste your role, whatever you've done, but you're going to tell it what the new task is, but you're going to continuously use the same one. Like,
Start off by saying, I want to create a template and save this template, or
you can save that template in that fashion.
and then just go back and use it.
Mine, I use them because I've saved them as GPT, the GPTs that you can create on your own. So mine, I have a rubric for my signature assignment, but I give it a different task, like a different something different for that, especially for my essays. I'll change what it's going to be looking at differently now, like a different assignment. But the templates themselves are mostly just to try to help you become more efficient. Essentially, your workflows become easier for you instead of just trying to brainstorm what it is that you're trying to get from it. Because sometimes, if you've noticed, initially when you start, you're looking at it like, I write something and I'm like, well, that's not what I wanted. And then I try to go back and go, okay, I tell you what, this is what I want. And then you are essentially, going piecemeal by piecemeal. It's a little bit at a time until finally you get the end result. This one at least gets you started, and it gives you that role playing for it because I know that there's one, and this one is because it's not a good one, but I think it's called Dan, which is do anything, because you know how sometimes when it first came out, it OpenAI actually upgraded the ethical code on it, and it wouldn't let you do something that it thought was unethical. So then people created roles, and one of them was Dan, which is essentially giving it a role. So it was do anything, and you essentially are telling it exactly what it's going to be. You are this, and this is what I want. This is not real type of thing, but you are asked to do it as if it was and it will do it for you anyway. It was a workaround from it preventing it from stopping you from not producing the work. So that was the one thing and this one is more of producing the work, but you're giving it a legitimate role on those things. But I think a lot of the times, like if we go back to this one, and you're looking at an accessibility reviewer, you're looking at just scan the text for reading level and clarity, suggest improvements, alternative text for images, and then of course, and these are the standards that we are required to be able to do. But as it says, check this text. And sometimes people do actually just do a simple prompt and then hope that you get something out of it, and then it leads to more and leads to more. At least this one, you're giving it its role and it's what you want from it at the start. Whether you continue to have a dialogue with it is a different story. It's just mostly getting that ability to start at that point. And if you notice with the one I did for history, it was just mostly very simple, which is just use the link, and it's FERPA compliant. It does everything, and it uses Bloom's taxonomy, and it divided it the way it's supposed to. So essentially, it just created the 3 discussions, the learning objectives, and then aligned them the way that Bloom's would be, especially if it's a college level course, and what you are trying to get out of it. You can use it for as I said, I'm just going to probably put it in the course, just especially prompt to template clinics or anything you could do, establish any faculty circles, especially within certain disciplines. And the goal is just really to empower staff to be able to become not template designers, but essentially something close to it. And maybe we can share those and become more efficient. So really, the takeaways would be to standardize any repeatable systems, just not one-off prompts, and protect privacy and ethics. And I think that's the thing that we've been talking about, or I've been talking about since last semester, especially when it comes to ethics and privacy, especially student information. And of course, if you do have something that you'd like, we want to be able to start using some sort of like a CTEL library where you'll have templates and people would have access to it. With this one, I'll probably, when I create, the course is created, it's just entering the names and putting the information that I have here. And it's pretty quick because it's just, you've already attended, it's not for you to be able to do something, it's just so you can have access to the resource. So it would be available. I don't know, do you all know how to access the professional development on Canvas? Pretty simple. Then that's where you would be able to get it. And I'll publish it tomorrow.
We have a question.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you. What my colleague mentioned that they have their own account for they paid a certain amount
Okay.
to get the better future or something. This one is should have a private something account or?
No, this one you can, if it's yours and you have that you're using it, or if everyone's using it, well, that would, like I have this one, the one that I did was just a free one. I did it like that. I have my own account that I pay for, and I have those there. But you can, create your own account. It could be free. You don't have to pay for it. But it would be something that you've signed into, and it actually stores your data or your information that you've had before.
What I try to understand, because I'm going to have my own assistant, like a secretary,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So now our school invaded with the ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But somebody mentioned the Gemini or something other things you can have a better futures.
Gemini is good, I think. And I think Copilot, I learned yesterday that the college wants to become more of a Microsoft, essentially move away from the Google accounts that we have. And that's something in the works.
Copilot and the ChatGPT, same company, right?
Yeah. Microsoft uses ChatGPT.
Gemini is a different company.
Yeah, that's Google. Mm-hmm. And that's it. I don't have anything else unless you want to add something. I want to always keep it under 30 minutes. That's why. Yes.
I have a question, but I don't mean to put you on the spot. Yeah. I'm old fashioned and I'm old and old fashioned, and which is not so good because I realize the importance of being able to use the tools that are now so abundant. If I was to ask a very simple question, such as, I wish to create a quiz based on OSHA 10-hour course, what would it give me?
It would likely give you,
Could you do it?
you would probably be able to do it.
Could you do it?
You want me to do it?
Canvas or?
No, not on Canvas. Huh?
The basis could be, like, let's say you use ChatGPT, they can make like a multiple choice quiz.
But it just depends on what it is.
Depends on, like, what you feed it, and like you could give it like.
You probably have to give it more direction.
Yeah.
Well, you see, as an example, OSHA 10-hour courses are like the simplest of OSHA, which is safety. So their content is pretty short, but it's limited but concise. So if I was to simply type that,
I did it. It's giving me like a 20-question quiz.
it did.
Yeah, what is the best way to prevent workplace injuries? How can employees refuse to do unsafe work?
Does it?
Should safety training be provided?
Can't remember the question. That's why.
Whether you like, what
But it doesn't give you specific questions as to ladder safety.
You can be specific and do that.
You can ask it to do it.
You can ask it to
If
do
you
that.
want it to be very specific, you can tell them like, give me 5 on ladder,
Electricals,
this and that, and it'll give you exactly what you asked.
If you put in the objectives of the OSHA 10-hour course, it can give you questions for each and every objective.
Yes.
I played around with ChatGPT after SB 12 came down, and I wanted to redo a teamwork assignment. So I actually put in the gen ed at Laredo College and the SLOs for my course with the Texas Education Coordinating Board. I mean, I got really specific, and I said I need a teamwork project lesson plan. Particular artists that dealt with these particular social responsibility. So I even got a whole bank of artists, and then I asked for the sources, and of course it tags the little sources.
Yeah.
So it's really as specific with what you're looking for. If it's public information, it can go find it. Of course, you always have to check it. So I was like, really? Laredo College? So I went to go check, and sure enough, it was lining up just fine. So I think it just depends. You gotta always double check it though. If you're gonna create quizzes, is that really part of OSHA? That's what I'm guessing, because that's what I had to do. I was like, does that artist do that or not? Right?
And you can ask, like, we meaning me, helped faculty with their course, and we went through it to where we created, I helped her with going onto ChatGPT. She used that one. We put her book, we put some of her notes and things that she had, and then we asked it to create certain assignments, specifically tests or quizzes, and then she went through each one of those questions and see if they aligned with what she was looking for, and she picked the ones she wanted, and that's how she was able to create her own test bank that way based on what she was looking for. So that's how she did it. We did that over the last, I guess, since 2024. Every semester she would come in to ask how to, for this chapter, for that chapter, as she was updating a couple of things.
And if we try this in our own way, and we are not so happy with it, can we go to someone specifically here in the college and say, hey, I'm doing this, but I'm still not getting what I want. Can I get some advice on that?
Yeah.
Would it be you?
Yep.
Okay, do.
Of course. That's what.
Your main campus, right?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I am here at the main campus, but I will also go where you go, which is what I did with her. Wherever, when she was able to meet, I went and I met with her. So I met with her at her place, where she was. But I can do that for you. I can help you. Okay, and that's it. Thank you.